The inheritance. Mr. Taint has passed away and he has so many relatives and cousins who hope to inherit from Mr. Taint. His blooded family were also happy when Mr. Taint passed away because they all knew that he had wealth and a will that gave orders about how his wealth would be shared. Mr. Taint never really has a close relationship with his siblings, cousins and any other relative. He was always the black sheep, and how a death of a wealthy man rallies everyone together is the most shallowest thing you can ever witness. Not a tear was shed for Mr. Taint, but only joyous expressions were all around. When Mr. Taint's siblings and cousins all gathered around the room for the will reading on the death of Mr. Taint, nobody noticed that the doors and windows were locked. Not one had any emotional fiber to give to Mr. Taint, and everyone in that room was excited at their inheritance. As the lawyer started reading the will, there was something going to his sibling, a brother to Mr. Taint, and in the will it had read that his older brother will inherit his diabetes. Everyone looked shocked in the room. Then Mr. Taint's older brother had suddenly fainted due to the diabetes, even though Mr. Taint's older had always led a healthy lifestyle. The lawyer injected insulin into Mr. Taint's older brother. Then when the lawyer carried on reading the will, his cousin had inherited Mr. Taint's gum disease. The cousin of Mr. Taint became frightened when his teeth fell out. Then another relative of Mr. Taint had inherited his terrible tinnitus. The relative became so disturbed by the ringing sounds. They all tried getting out of the room, but it was locked. Every one of Mr. Taint's bloodied family had inherited not material wealth, but rather one of his health conditions. A female cousin of Mr. Taint had inherited death from Mr. Taint. When she fell to the ground dead, Mr. Taint rose from his coffin and entered the room. He had none of his ailments and was now healthy and alive. He never did like his family, and he was a happy man now that he had no health problems. Some of his family had inherited his joint problems and migraines. Now Mr. Taint could enjoy his wealth as a healthy man, when before he was constantly at the hospital. I mean by his blooded relatives willfully being in the room without force, they accepted the inheritance. I'm sure if they had known beforehand what they were actually inheriting, they wouldn't have been in that room.